My name is Mikkel Dam-Schwartz. I'm Minister Counselor for Food, Agriculture and Fisheries at the Danish Embassy in Washington, and we're very pleased to have you all here today to make a presentation of the stakeholder mapping tool in the US. I'll just jump into the agenda. We lost 10 minutes, so we'll try to catch it up, and I'm not the most important one here, so I'll try to do a brief introduction. And after that, Stig Yding Sørensen from Danish Technological Institute will present the actual tool for stakeholder mapping. And after that, we luckily have Lisbeth and Chromologics to tell a bit about a specific case using the tool. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Stig and Lisbeth, for your working with us with this, and we look forward to seeing it in action, this tool. Before I hand over to Stig and Lisbeth, just a few words about our vision for this project. There are, at least seen from our perspective, two important reasons why the food and agricultural sector and biotechnology are vital in the future food production. So one is food supply. As we all know, there's an immense pressure on global food supply systems, and the growing population in the world enhances the importance of resilient and sustainable production. Climate change and sustainability. We feel the impact of climate change in general, and extreme weather conditions, not least here in the US, are challenging both farmers and production yields. So ensuring reliable food systems to feed the populations while at the same time producing more with less water, less energy, less resources is a global challenge seen from a Danish government perspective. And therefore we must look to new and innovative ways of producing the food of tomorrow. Biotechnology offers a new and intelligent solution in the food and agricultural sector, either through microbial processes, waste reduction, or in development of completely new types of foods, fertilizers, you name it. Collaboration and exchanges between companies, universities, and governments are key to solve these challenges. And of course, it can be good business as well. We in the Trade Council and the Danish Foreign Ministry strive to assist and support Danish companies in the global markets. And we hope that this tool can provide access to the American market for some of you. In 2020, the Danish food cluster exported 3.5 billion to the US, and bio-based products was 1.4 billion, enzymes making up the largest group. There's also an increased political focus on the sector, with both an Inflation Reduction Act supporting heavily the industry in this area, and an executive order on biomanufacturing made by President Joe Biden. These initiatives we expect will bring more production capabilities and jobs to the US. So the market is there, and biosolutions are going to be a major part in the food systems of tomorrow. We in Denmark have a strong tradition for collaboration, and we see it as key to solve the global challenges ahead of us. For instance, we try in the US to gather the ecosystem in a food and bio forum, a consortium for Danish providers of biosolutions supported by the Danish Agriculture and Food Councils, the Danish Chamber of Commerce, and the Danish Confederation of Industry. The US is a very interesting market for biosolutions, and of course, if any of you are interested in our work over here, please reach out to us. But the market in the US is also a huge market, which is why we've partnered with Danish Technological Institute to map out the American sector across the states. This to offer insight to those looking to enter the market and be a part of building the modern food ecosystem. The project looks at biotechnology that can be applied across all parts in the value chain of the food and agricultural production, from the soil to the plants to the processing and production, and through the final food products we put on the table. We are hosted today by Food Nation, who has let us use their virtual universe. FoodNation is a public-private partnership which is established in 2017 by the Danish government, organizations and companies to strengthen international awareness of Danish food and agricultural solutions abroad. Now I'll hand over to Stig for the most important and exciting part, and Lisbeth, of course, the actual tool and how to use it and experiences with it. Please, Stig, the floor is yours.
Microphone on. Thank you very much for inviting me for doing this presentation. I've been looking very much forward to present the tool for you today. And I think I'll jump right into the presentation, so I will sort of disappear from the screen and instead we'll see my PowerPoint. I know that's tough, but here's my PowerPoint. As just explained, the idea behind this tool is to find a way to help Danish companies, Danish firms to promote Danish biosolutions in the USA. And the Danish trade councils of North America set out to find a way to offer an intuitive and an accessible tool to identify partners for collaboration and potential customers in the US. And we hope to do that, and we have mapped the potential partners and customers across the USA, and we have collected a range of data on these partners and customers, and we have made it accessible in a tool on the internet that is interactive, where the user can zoom in and find the partners or customers that has a relevant profile. But before diving into that, I'll just tell you just a little bit about why is it me and DTI that are here. DTI is an Danish Technological Institute. We are an independent non-profit research and development institute. And we have worked in Denmark since 1906 to promote application of technological advantages for the benefit of individual businesses and for growth and prosperity of society as a whole. At the Institute, there are about 1,000 specialists, and we cooperate with a wide range of research and development partners. Within the Institute, we also, a smaller section, most of these specialists are engineers and very highly specialized in agriculture, in nanotechnology, in robotics, in butchery, automation, in energy, in construction, all sort of matching what's going on in Denmark. And then we have a small unit that you could say sort of the think tank of the Institute, where we look at technologies and society. So we are not as deep into technologies, but then take a broader look and work a lot with data mining in different ways, and that is what we have used in this. And I'll just show you the team behind it. One to point out here is Anna Maria Hansen, that some of you might already know, who's an expert into biosolutions. There's Christian Kriegbaum, who is the tough guy on programming for scraping and profiling. We have Emil, who has been crucial in making the statistical analysis and doing the e-survey. Market Leifrid Jacobsen has years of experience in these types of studies, so he's been advisor to the group, and I have sort of been the project manager and also been part of the statistical analysis. To help us along the way, we also had a small company called Jysk Analyse that are doing CATI-based computer-aided telephone interviews to help us contact biosolution companies in Denmark. We do about 10,000 company interviews every year, so, and very often in cooperation with Jysk Analyse. But let's get straight to the outcome of our work. We have made one report already that was presented this fall in San Francisco on tech mining, where we compared biosolution innovations in Denmark and United States by finding all relevant patents and analyzing the contents of the patents to see where we like and where we're different from the United States when you compare Denmark and United States. We also have the current report, mapping report for Danish biosolution providers. You'll get access to that today. I have it. It's in print here besides me. And then finally, of course, there's the interactive tool. And I think I will take you a few steps back in the project so that you know what kind of work is behind making the tool. If we start with the tech mining, all patents have a patent code that sort of says what the patent is about, and if you can isolate the Nordic patents and the United States patents, you can see the differences. And so Biosolutions are interesting both to firms, to companies in United States and to companies in the Nordic and in Denmark, but the approach seems to be very different. In the United States, it patents in relation to modifying genotypes, or what does it say, angiosperms, flowering patterns, medical preparations, where in Denmark it's more I can't say that word, qualities of foods or medical preparations. We have big companies in both areas, and that might also be reflected in this. So on taking a look on what kind of innovation is taking place in the United States and what kind of innovation is taking place in the Nordic and in Denmark, it's clearly that we are not sort of competing in the same field. So Danish companies with Biosolutions might have something to offer to companies in the United States that they don't really have as strongly in the United States. It says Nordic patent subclasses because the study we did in the fall was presented at the Nordic Food Forum, and therefore we had a bit wider patent research than just Danish companies. But this picture, this shows that how we are sort of in the same playing field as United States companies and research, but just in the other end of the field, so we have something to offer. Another thing that we did was to map the Danish companies that offers Biosolutions. And if you write down the link into the left-hand side, rebright.li, you probably get the presentation afterwards, but this will sort of, and if you use a password technology, it will open the map, and the map will be interactive, and you can sort of see what companies that we have mapped. The main reason for us to map the companies was that we wanted to interview the companies. We wanted to hear the Danish biosolution companies, what kind of partners were they looking at within the agricultural and food sector in the United States. So what kind of partners, what were the features of the partners, and we did that to get a better grip of what we should be looking for when we turned our eyes to the United States. In the United States, we also mapped the companies, and we have mapped them within agriculture and food. And on this map, you cannot see Alaska and Hawaii. It doesn't mean that they are not mapped, but it's just they were not part of the map that we made here. And every little dots represent some or even more food-related companies or agricultural companies. The information here is from a database called Crunchbase, but the data is also, and they get the data from LinkedIn, so it's actually completely open data, so that everyone can look at. So and here you see the spread of the companies. There's and maybe not surprisingly, the concentration of companies is very high, where the population of United States is also very high. So it's not so that because it's food and agriculture, it's all in the Midwest countryside, and we have quite a broad search on food. We have identified more than 20,000 companies that works within either of these fields. Here's how we were working with making the tools. If you look to the left, it says e-surveys, and it was actually a catchy-based survey with Danish biosolution firms on the main characteristics of the US clients or what they hope to identify in the US. That gave us quite a lot of keywords to look for, and we didn't reach everyone there, so we also added a little bit of disk research to expand the list of keywords and also make sure that we had some variations of the keywords. So we ended up with a list of 250 keywords. Then we studied all the 20,000 websites, not physically, but we made a small program and scraped the websites, meaning that we visited the front page and the layer just below on the main company website to see how often each of the keywords were noticed. So if one company might register for 10 keywords, another for 15, another for 25. So I think we had almost 99% that at least were hit by one keyword and most were by more. That meant we were able to we made a database of all the keywords and all the companies and analyzed it to see if there were some of the keywords that were more frequently together than other keywords. So did they cluster or group in any way? And they did. We identified 20-something groups where you could say they had more in common with other companies that had the same profile than other companies. So we were able to make 20 profiles, and since ChatGPT is now available, we showed that list of keywords to ChatGPT and say, if you, ChatGPT, if you machine learning program should describe a sector that has these keywords in common, how would you then choose to describe it? So ChatGPT helped us describe all the profiles in terms that were more readable than the 25 than the 25 keywords. So these profiles we attached to the companies, and we made this tool that we can search. I call it here toolification, where we turn the data into an online tool to be used by Danish solution companies and to help to identify customers and partners. And this is how the food look, or how the tool look. And I will just switch to another screen where I think I have it online, I hope. I had before, I have it right here. I think so. It says that, disconnected from the server. I hope we did I disappear completely? No, here we are. I can just push this in. So this is the tool. The tool is, the center of the tool is a map where you can zoom in. We cannot show all 20,000 dots at the same time, so that's why there's a number here saying if you go into this area, there will be 500 companies. And the closer you get, the more dots you get, and you can click on them and you can see that we have Sterling Tea. There will be what keywords there are. We can also go in here. We do not have exact address on the companies. There's a website. We have the website address, so you can visit the company and find relevant contact information there. But we know what city they are from, so it doesn't mean that when I press here in Richardson, press number 13, doesn't mean that all 13 companies are on exact that address, but they will be in very close to that area. And if you visit the company website, we have Spectrum Soccer here. You can just click there. We can move directly to them. The profiles that I was talking about, there's a little here. You can download if you want to know more about them. You can download a PDF and see what is behind the profiles. You can also decide that for the map, I just want to see breweries, and I can apply the filter, and now they disappeared. I had to zoom out to find something that's related to a brewery, like here, Deagle Draft Beer Company in Arlington in Fort Worth. And if you zoom out, you can see others. So that you you can choose what profile you have. And remember, these profiles are made up by studying clustering of keywords. So that is sort of a statistical analysis of how the what is clustering most frequently, and it's machine learning that has described what can be the headlines for this. If you want, but you can also set up your own profiles, because here we have all the keywords that, and you can say, well, I want something with almonds within agriculture and bacteria, and I can apply the filters. I don't know if there's anyone that has this. And I get companies that has exactly that profile. Maybe I should select all up here also. So you can either use a predefined profiles, or you could customize the profile. Also, you can decide that if your trip is going to Phoenix, or where that is that you select, I'm just going to Arizona, then you can just zoom in and say, okay, I just want to look what's going on in Arizona. And you get exactly that, and you can see, are there any, I have a meeting here anyway, so are there someone nearby that I could contact? Just selecting everything again so we don't run out of stuff on the map. You can also say, I want to talk only with big companies, because we think that it has to be a big company, so you can select them by size, either on their revenue, or you can say, I want to talk to companies with more than 5,000 employees, so you can also do them on the size. Now we can just try to take just just the breweries, and I can take just breweries in California. Now I have just, I think, breweries in California. Not much, so I should get them just in California. I have this info. What I wanted to show you by that was that you don't have to, oh, come on. Maybe I choose too much, just a second. If we refresh my page, maybe it will help us a little bit on that. So, come on. Why is presentations like this? Did we lose contact? Oh, it's still thinking. I might be working too hard on this. Christian was suggesting that we try to load it up a little bit today, and you can see it's thinking. What I wanted to show you was that besides the map of results, that's why we are simply updating, we can also take a table of results, and here you can get a list, and you can export it by pressing down on export of results, and you can get company names and what they're doing, and the website address, so you are not sort of stuck with having to look at the map all the time. You can also check it out. I don't know if more people than me are using it at the moment, so it might be that the server is a little bit stressed. There is a user guide online here, and you can download it as a PDF file, where you can see more about the profiles. You can see the things that you can search on, and there'll also be some suggestions for search strategies, or you can download the full report just pressing that. That will get us to the full report. And there's a little about on who to contact. I wanted to go back to the presentation here. So if you want to go and have a try, and as you can see, it might be that you need to line up a little bit. So if you're 10 or 15 people or even more at the same time, it might move a little bit slow. There's a long link to the side of up in the top where you can try it out, and you have to register with the Trade Council to do that. But you can also use the short link at the bottom if that's easier to write down. But again, I think we'll share the presentation here afterwards, so you can you get that that link, but t.ly KB4Y will get you right there. I think that is that. I'm sorry we stressed the server a little bit there, but I think we take questions afterwards if there are questions for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, T. I hope all of you followed the presentation, and it's I've tried it as well, so it's quite intuitive, which is very nice, and hopefully running up to speed. And of course, it's also important that it works for somebody. And Lisbeth, I thank you for joining us today, and you're with Chromologics and have tried the tool.
Yes.
And had promised us to just give a brief introduction to your experience with it. Thank you so much for that. I'll just shut myself off here and give you the floor.
Thank you, Mikkel, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the presentation, Stig. I have been working with the tool. My name is Lisbeth Khan, and I'm the VP of Business Development here at Chromologics. You probably don't know Chromologics, but we are a small Danish bio-color company. We have developed a natural, sustainable red color. We have this fantastic fungi, and if you treat it in a precision fermentation the right way, it actually secretes very nice red color. This mapping tool here was very useful for our business development team. Right now, we are testing our red color with the potential customers, and in order to find the right companies, we use this mapping tool. You can imagine if you're a small company sitting in Denmark, we don't have so many resources, but using this tool, we'd actually narrowed it down to companies that we could manage to look into and to take decision on who to contact. So let's give me an example. There's of course many applications area that is a red natural color is relevant for. We chose to look at baking companies because we know a lot of baking companies, they want to substitute what they're using today. It could be carmine because they want to have a vegan claim. They want to replace carmine. They could also want to replace betanin. And to start a dialogue with these potential customers, we did use the mapping tool. So what we did was a little bit what Stig was showing you. We used the profile for baking companies. And I also used some criteria on the revenue, and in the end also some of the states, because I know some of the states are a little bit more into natural ingredients. They want to substitute from synthetic colors into natural colors. So I also choose maybe California, and that gave me this nice list. And as Stig also mentioned, you can actually export this list into an Excel sheet. And on the list, you also have links to the web pages of the companies. And also some of them have links to LinkedIn. So you get the page, the company page. And that's actually quite useful for us, because in LinkedIn, you can start searching, of course, for the people. And for us, it's relevant to be in contact with the research scientists, because that's the one who will test with our red color. So I made marks when I have the Excel sheet. I made marks who to contact using LinkedIn. And we also, for the web pages, like Stig also mentions, there's a lot of wordings, keywords that you can use. And in our case, we were interested in especially caking, filling, and some of the keywords was useful. Some of them we need to look into ourselves for the web page to make sure that we were covering the right application, so we were contacting the right companies. So we went from these huge lists, narrowed it down, and then I actually got a list with the contact people to contact, and we contacted them through LinkedIn and put up meetings. And last week we actually sent samples to one of the companies. So it worked. It was a very specific case, but I think maybe that was helpful. And of course, this is the US. In Chromologics, we will also be targeting EU. So I'm just waiting for having a mapping tool for EU. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisbeth. Very helpful. It's a simple thing, but I at least find that one of the problems, not least for small or medium-sized businesses wanting to enter EU. There's quite a barrier in the size of the market, and just simply as this tool may help, as you stressed, to just figure out where to target your approach and which companies are in a specific area. We at least get that a lot from companies. So this is a way we're trying to help, and I'm quite happy to hear that you had a good experience. I hope others listening in will have the same. That's of course the ambition with this. So thank you so much, both Stig and Lisbeth. We'll stay here for questions as the last thing, and I think Food Nation will make them available on the screen if there's any questions, and I'll just read them up, and of course you're welcome to have, if you have questions to me, Lisbeth or Stig, to put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer best possible. Yes, Jan from Automate, can the system distinguish between production sites and sales offices within an organization? I guess, Stig, you would be the best to try and answer that.
I can just comment briefly on that. What we get is the headquarters of the companies, so that will narrow your search down to see what companies you should look in. But when you visit their websites, if they have that kind of production sites or serve offices, you'll have to find them on their website. So we cannot map entire industry organizations. It'd be nice, but I have not found a way to do that. So
thank you so much. I think maybe Food Nation can just confirm that there is no more questions for the time being.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Questions now. Now's the time. We have all the experts here. So a recommendation from us.
We'll just give it 1 minute. If the chat is slow and elsewhere, we'll wrap up for today. While we're waiting to see if anybody else has questions, I just wanted again to thank you, Lisbeth, of course, for doing this, taking the time to speak with us and speak to our audience today. I learned a bit about Chromalogic, and I'm interested in following you in the future, also in the US. It sounds very interesting. Red is a nice color. Is there any other colors coming, or are you?
We are planning to have more than red, also.
Okay.
Yeah, yellow and orange, and probably also more in the future. Yeah.
Well, it's so exciting in this field, all these technologies that sort of push things we'd rather not have out of the market in 10-15 years time. So thank you so much for joining us, and Stig, thank you, and Danish Technological Institute for your groundwork with this. From my side and our side, we find it very relevant. As I said, it is of course quite simple, but an important thing to be able to map in a country where you have the size of the US in terms of population and geography. It's expensive to go here. It's expensive to visit with partners. So the ability to narrow down your search, I think, could be relevant for many companies. And then if I take it there's no more questions, then I would just say that I hope all of you joining in, and also of course Stig and Lisbeth, you'll decide for yourself. But if you would help us share the word about this, because now we made it, and now we want to get as many as possible to use it and have the help of the tool. And with these words, I would just once again thank you. Also thank you to the audience for joining us. Have a nice afternoon in Denmark. It looks like a great day in Washington, as you can see behind me.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.